Hey y'all, this is David, the Georgia Photographer, and today we're on Truck Talk episode 4, and the premise of this talk is don't meet your heroes. Just got back from a trip out west. We went to Arizona for a week and about 10 days, and part of it we spent with some friends, and then part of it we went and rented a camper and we rode it up to the northern part of the state. We went to the Grand Canyon and took the classic tourist photos from the overlooks and things like that. And I will try to intersperse a couple of photos through this truck talk, but these are meant to be minimal edit videos. After we got done with the Grand Canyon, we did the whole boondocking deal with the camper van, so that you can stay on the BLM land out there, and you don't have to rent space or whatever, but you don't have any amenities. You take them with you. So that's the reason we rented the little RV thing. Well, we went after that. We rode up to Lake Powell, and it's in Page, Arizona, right up at the Utah state line. We stayed on Lake Powell just across the state line in Utah, and I did Parks on the Air radio while we were there and all that sort of stuff. But at the end of the trip, or when we got to Page, let me say it correctly, we went to Antelope Canyon. We did the tour. You think it's this, from the photos that you see of it, they make it look larger than it is. It's a very narrow slot canyon, which is basically a crack in the Earth's crust. It's literally a crack in the sandstone bedrock. If you look at it from Google Earth, that's exactly what it looks like. And the wind has blown through that canyon over the years and worn it to those pretty smooth surfaces like this photo here has that I took. It only takes you about an hour to do the tour, to walk from one end to the other. It's not very long, and it's also not very large. It might be 8-10 feet wide at the widest, maybe about that, maybe 15 feet in one spot. It's not very big. They took a crew of us of about 7 or 8 people on the tour per group size. Each truck has however many in it, and there's a bunch of them trucks. But they stop and they talk about it, and they'll do photos with you, and the tour guides have memorized the camera settings to get those iconic photos, because everybody wants to use their phone, take those photos, and he's even figured out how to use an iPhone to get these beautiful, really larger than life images, and they look really good. Teresa's got them on her phone. I didn't take any with mine because she got them on hers. I didn't need them as well, so I could just get them from her. But he would take these photos and use the pano feature and do vertical panos with it, and they look really good. Like I said, he even told me my camera settings I needed if I wanted to get those really red rock colors. He told me to set the white balance to 6,500 Kelvin, and it worked. That photo from earlier, that's straight out of camera. Literally 0 edits. So it's impressive that they have learned that about photography to the point they tell you what to set the camera on to get what you want. Toward the end, because the photos start to get redundant because it's all windswept, corners, flowy edge rock, and the longer you walk, the more of them you take, and by the time you get to the end, you have 200 of what looks very much the same all the way through. So I started experimenting. I reset my white balance back to 5,500, which is where I normally ride it, and the photos didn't look that much different. They were a little flatter or duller or whatever, because of the daylight balancing, but it was interesting to see where Peter Lick took his famous, I think it's called the ghost photo that sold for so much money. And there's another photographer that the guide mentioned that made a very famous photograph from there. And I took a photo in that same area. It went in the cull folder because it wasn't that great to me. But when you see the space they had to work in, it's not much. It's a pretty tight, confined area. So he was probably running a 14 millimeter lens to make it look like it's larger than it is. It's a little narrow thing, but it kind of, I had these expectations about what it was going to look like. And then, of course, when I saw it in reality, those expectations got shattered. And it didn't look anything like what I was thinking. Well, other than the windswept surfaces. That was accurate because you see all the photos. But I was expecting it to be bigger, just to be honest with you. You know, from all the hype and all that stuff, I was just expecting more of something, essentially. And I just, it wasn't a letdown, but it was, you know. I was happy to do the tour. I enjoyed the tour. It was a great time. And it's not really long. You know, it's an hour and a half from the tour guide picking you up to dropping you back off at your car, because they have to ride down the road a little piece. And it was a great time. But I was just seeming, in my mind, I was expecting that canyon to be more majestic, I guess. After seeing the Grand Canyon and the majesty of the Grand Canyon, Antelope Canyon, you need to do it first. If you're going to see them both, go to Antelope Canyon first. That way, you won't come off of this high of seeing something as vast and voluminous as the Grand Canyon, and then go to Antelope, and it seems like a drop in the bucket compared to the Grand Canyon, you know. Like I said, it was a great time, and I feel like it was well worth the money to go do the tour because I got to see it, along with Teresa, of course. But I won't do it again, if that makes sense. It's one of those once and done kind of trips. You do it once, you've done it. You know, you don't ever go back. But I don't know of anybody that would actually go to pay to see it 2 times. Maybe there's somebody, I don't know. But yeah, you go back to the Grand Canyon, there's enough of it, you can go multiple times and not see it all every time, you know. And there's activities and there's all sorts of stuff. But once you've seen Antelope, you're done. Now, there is a upper and a lower Antelope Canyon. We only did the upper Antelope. Lower Antelope is apparently like a different shaped slot cave. Like the roof the walls lean out instead of in. So the sky is more visible in that one, and you get a lot more daylight. But we didn't fool with it. We just did the classic one that everybody sees the photos of. And there's some more stuff up in that area that's on the Navajo reservation, or Navajo Nation. And it's all beautiful back in there. So if you get an opportunity to go, I recommend it. I recommend go see it at least once. But it's kind of like meeting your heroes, you know. That, you know how they say that, don't ever meet your heroes, because they never live up to the image you have in your mind. And that's kind of the way Antelope Canyon was for me. So I appreciate you sitting through the truck talk, and if you haven't done it yet, I'd like a like and subscribe. They're down there in that corner. And until next time, get your camera out, go take a picture with it. All right, we'll see y'all later. Bye-bye.